Revelation 549. From the 17th of August 1938. Preparation of the souls from the side of the otherworldly forces. The name of the Lord be praised forever. So receive today a proclamation which the Lord has wisely clothed in a form that it may be well understood by you. A special task of the spiritual beings is the preparation of the souls for their spiritual activity, and they're those forces which the Lord has determined for the teaching activity in the hereafter, work undaunted. What is to be transmitted to people is, as it were, given by the Lord Himself, because the spirit beings continuously only carry out the divine will. They are the connecting forces from the hereafter to this world, and their activity consists in continuously announcing the will of God to the people on earth, who are particularly receptive to it. And this in such a way that they influence the thoughts of people, transfer spiritual goods to them, as it were, and stimulate such a willing person to receive without ceasing. For there are inexhaustible areas, which are the task of the spirit beings on the other side to open up for the earthly child, which they gladly and eagerly comply with out of love for the divine Saviour. In such connection again all those seek to make themselves felt who carry an unquenched desire to bring souls to the Lord, who are also connected with the earthly people in a certain form and thus carry a kind of responsibility for these souls. If such spiritual beings can now communicate with people, a path has been trodden which is infinitely successful for the earthly children. But people often deprive themselves of this extraordinary privilege. Then the spirit beings have a difficult stand. They want to give and seldom find a child who accepts these gifts and adjusts to the way of understanding or proclamations. Sober earthly thinking will always destroy the beginning works, and the spiritual experience is so far away from people that they are simply not able to stand up for it because they do not understand it or do not want to understand it. God let an extraordinary power work at any time, and this power caused that on the one hand a hunger became perceptible in man for spiritual nourishment and that this could be met on the other hand by the will of man. And so the will was the cause that the bridge was built from the beyond to earth. That suddenly man was not only able to think earthly, but a completely new spiritual experience also made him receptive for another worldly work. Now it will always be the task of the individual to tread the bridge to the beyond as often as possible, but thereby a region has been made accessible to him which is unfathomable outside of such a spiritual connection. Man demands to know, and the fulfillment of his desire will be fully granted. But it will first be checked to what extent the true free will is predominant among the people. If a spirit being has established that connection, it must of necessity then be active in order to keep awake the desire in man. To let the questions arise in him, which are the task of the spiritual beings to solve and which are to be valid as instructions for all those to whom spiritual knowledge proves to be more desirable than earthly wealth and earthly wisdom. Where the interest in those people questions has awakened, there also the spiritual hunger will not decrease any more. The human being will try to satisfy it, and will feel unspeakably well thereby, because he already receives the heavenly food, the bread of the life, which is the Lord Himself. He is satiated with food, prepared by the angels of God themselves and given as refreshment, so that man does not tire in the spiritual work, which is the most important thing on earth. This activity of the spiritual beings is ordered by God Himself and is again a work of love for the children of the earth. Undaunted, the beings seek to influence people and to take possession of the souls which they now form according to their wise knowledge. They seek to set these souls a task and spur them on to fulfill it, and so they contribute to the soul's elevation into spiritual regions, so that the work on such souls, the influencing of the thoughts, becomes easier and easier for them, and even in the end the state can be reached that man recognizes this connection with spiritual forces as the only true purpose of life and lets no opportunity pass by to cultivate this, and so the work of these spiritual beings in the hereafter is crowned with success, and the earthly child is completely transformed in spirit and soul. Amen.